It's the Score North Twin Show.
Here he is, Trevor Plouffe Tuesday, coming to you from the Big Apple, from the John Boy Studios. He's had at least one old-fashioned in New York City, maybe more.
I had two.
You had two?
I did.
The whiskey, the rye, the brandy. What kind of old-fashioned do you?
Rye.
Bourbon.
I'm not a liquor drinker. I just needed one last night, and so I just say, what I say is,
however you make
give
it.
me your house old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And like they just make one. So
are you more of like red wine? What's your jam?
Beer and wine for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to keep it tight.
Yeah.
Well, craft, IPAs.
You know, I used to do that a lot, and now I'm more just like, give me Modelo or something like that.
Okay.
Something.
Or do we have a beer sponsor on this show? Whatever that is.
Not
If
at
Modelo
the
wants a
current
sponsor.
moment. Yeah, Modelo. We're open for business.
I like
you guys
that.
are- Yeah. So Trevor Plouffe is in New York. He's on the ground, and Royce Lewis will be joining him at the stadium today, making his second appearance in a Twins uniform this year. We can get into the Edouard Julien demotion, but let's just start with Royce Lewis is coming back. The Twins have the fifth best record in the American League. They keep winning series, so Twins vibes are blank right now. Trev,
I think they're mostly high. I think there's a little bit of a, I don't want to say like a riff going through the clubhouse, but I think the Julian thing was a shock, I think, for a lot of people. And the first person I saw when I walked into the hotel last night was Royce Lewis. He looks great. He's happy. He's ready to go. So I think that's something that Twins fans will like to hear. But I think, yeah, it's mainly high, especially coming into a series like this. I mean, the Yankees are playing some of the best ball in all of baseball right now. Like having Royce is, almost paramount in a series like this. So I think that's a good thing. But definitely the Julian news, I think probably it shocked quite a few people, especially some of the people that I talked to.
The Julian news, though, Trev, from a front office standpoint, makes sense, right? Like I was going through this, in the month of May. So from April 28th to June 1st, 31 games, hit 173, OPS 457. His last home run actually had come on April 27th. So I guess my question is, what was the shock when I think they're actually doing him a favor to send him down and allow himself to get right and not insisting that he keep banging his head against the wall in the big leagues, which I'm guessing, although you played, is incredibly frustrating to try and get right against big league pitching.
Yeah, I don't think it's like the wrong move necessarily. But my understanding was even up until, like a week ago when they knew Royce Lewis was coming back, like he was kind of almost being assured that it wasn't going to be him. So like, let's continue to work through it. So I think the thought process probably changed. I do agree with you. If you're a front office person, you paid Kyle Farmer to come play for you. You brought in Manny Margot. Those are the two guys that are probably closest to being sent out if it wasn't Julian. So you can keep those guys, your off-season acquisitions, or you bring Kyle back and he's making some money. And you're right. I mean, Julian needs to go work on things. He needs to go figure some stuff out. And I sent him a message and I said, look, man, like right now, when as a player, when this happens to you, you feel like the entire world is watching you and you've let everybody down. And I just said, hey, man, like everybody goes through this. Like you can name the people that don't get sent down ever in the big leagues on like one hand, two hands. Like it's very few people get up and stay up. This is just part of the game. It's part of the learning experience. And I think he will be better for it. I think the thing that kind of shocks me is like who's going to play second base now. I think Castro is going to play a lot of starts at second base. Like I'm curious to see if they think about putting Miranda there or maybe putting Royce there. Like you kind of want to keep Miranda his bat somewhere. Like, is he going to play first base? Like, I think there's a lot of moving parts now because Julian is out.
Feels like too, Trev, if he can go down there, Julian that is, and just work on trying to flick those breaking balls that are on the outside corner and just become more of a well-rounded hitter. Like, I don't look at the demotion as like this is a career-altering decision for him, and this is just like he's never going to come back up here. In fact, like I still think he's higher up on the pecking order than some other guys that have failed in previous Twins years. But if he can work on some of those things, even with the automated strike zone in AAA, because I know there's some fans being like, well, what's he going to do? He's just going to take the automated strikes and he's not going to flip it. Like, I think him trying to figure out how to hit breaking balls, that's like the missing piece from this guy literally being not just a nice hitter, like a perennial all-star, and a guy who has made great strides defensively. I think that this is going to be a great thing for him long-term still.
Yeah, I mean, he has to learn how to do that. And that's the thing about the big leagues is like they bully you. If you are deficient in one area, they're just going to keep pressing that button. Well, the kids call it spamming. I'm going to spam that breaking ball on you. And they won't stop until you do something about it. They won't stop. And maybe they see you make a quick little in-game adjustment. They'll go somewhere else right away. You have to learn to combat that. The things that you can't do, you got to figure those out. You got to work on those too. So yeah, I think I even asked. I was sitting with a couple of guys last night when I got in down at the hotel bar and said, I watched Julian's at bats, and I'm like, he's like his approach is still good. Like, what was it? It's just like, is he in between? Is it mental? And that was kind of the gist of it. Was like he just kind of got in his own head, and like he just has to be able to make that adjustment with the breaking balls. And honestly, it's easy. Like he'll be able to do that if he goes and focuses on that. And when you're in AAA, you don't have to worry about your stats, especially if they tell you go work on something. And that's really hard to do. You want to put numbers up because you feel like I better do that so I get called back up. But really, the reality of the situation is he needs to just go solely focus on that. Nobody gives a shit what your numbers are in AAA, especially if you've proven you can do it at the big league level.
I think Judd was the first one on yesterday's show to bring up the Torii Hunter example. And I just went and looked this up on Baseball Reference. So Torii Hunter came up. He actually came up for one game in 1997 with the Twins as a 21-year-old. But then I think he was another September call-up in 98. His first real season was 99. And he was like great defensive center fielder, but would chase those breaking balls off the outer edge. So he starts the 2000 season with the Twins, struggles, gets sent down as a 24-year-old. He goes down for 55 games in the middle of the 2000 season after being a big leaguer for the entire previous season, 1999. And he hits 18 home runs in 55 games with a 1,100 OPS and basically said, never again am I going to be put in this situation. Then he comes up. He was red hot to end the season. And boom, 2001 going forward, all-star, one of the best players in modern Twins history. I hope that's what happens with Eddie Julien. I want to go back to what you were saying, too, about do you think there's a chance with how hot Miranda's been? You kind of floated the idea. Would they go to Royce Lewis and say, hey, man, we probably can't put Miranda at second base. I mean, he's played there before, but we think you're a better defensive second baseman. You're just a better athlete. So would you mind playing second base? Miranda plays third while we figure this out. Do you think that's a real possibility, or is it just four guys on microphones recklessly speculating?
No, I think that could be a possibility. I haven't heard that from anyone. I'm just thinking
from your sources.
Yeah, from my sources. No, I just think that it's a possibility, and it could be like a short-term thing, like you're saying. Like we need to figure out what's going on. I think will happen is maybe Miranda plays first base, and we see Willie Castro at second base. That's probably the most logical thing. Or, Jeffers catches a lot more and the DH spot is open. So Royce DHs or Miranda DHs, something like that, I think will happen. But, playing second base isn't that easy. Like it's become easier in today's game because, you can't take guys out at second base. That was always the thing. Like, around second base, your footwork better be correct because guys will blow you up, but they can't really do that anymore. So it's gotten a little bit easier, but still like if you're a left side of the infield guy moving over to that side, like everything's completely different. So it's just not that easy as just, hey, go play second base. Like you definitely sacrifice some defense. I don't care who you are as a defender. It's going to take there's a learning curve there. But
Nishioka learned that the hard way one time.
He did. Yeah, he did.
But yeah, no, you could take guys out at the time.
Yeah, I think there's going to have to be guys willing to go all over the place, and it wouldn't shock me if we saw Miranda at second base one game. I think Farmer's going to get a couple of starts there. They have options at least, but from my understanding, Willie is going to get the first kind of crack at it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a little bit concerned too because we sort of had these same in-depth, deep discussions in spring training about, oh my God, who's going to play where? And the fact is, one, Baldelli made it clear on Sunday that Royce is not going to play every day right away. Like he's gonna play a day. He might take a day off, and plus, he's got to prove. I mean, the one thing that he still has to prove, Trev, and it's not his fault, but can he stay healthy consistently? Sure. I mean, going into spring training, we're like, who's gonna play where? Miranda's screwed for sure because he's not going to be back, and it wasn't a game in. Royce gets hurt, so. Unfortunately, in sports, these things sometimes work themselves out. Yeah. Like we have these deep discussions about, well, you're going to have to trade somebody, and then the next thing, Jose Miranda comes back in April, and you're like, oh, thank God. So
I thought we might get the fake phantom injured list thing here. I thought that was maybe in play, where, okay, Julien did enough to stay, and so let's go to Kyle and say, how does your elbow feel? What do you mean? No, you have a sore elbow. Let's put. Because that happens all the time, I feel like, in baseball.
It does, but I really think they also want Julien to go kind of figure it out. He's a long-term solution at second base, and they truly believe that. So it was almost like, hey, man, it's June 4th. Like, let's just go down there, give us 3 weeks, go show what you can do, and then, you'll be better for it. So, I mean, I think later on in the season, this move probably wouldn't have been made, but because we're still kind of earlier in the season, that it was probably the right move.
I think also, Trev, with Trevor Larnach's kind of getting over that foot issue that was plaguing him to only DH for the most part. Now he's starting to play a little bit more in the field. That opens things up a little bit too from a roster construction and who DHs, who doesn't DH situation. And Larnach has maybe turned into their next leadoff man because they've been trying to figure out a good one since Julien struggled with it. Kirilloff, they threw in there for a little bit. Larnach hits some balls hard, man. And I wonder if they finally figured out if they have a consistent, productive leadoff hitter. It feels like it's one thing if they can get that going in their lineup. The rest in 2, 3, 4, Correa, Jeffers, etc. are going to start driving in more guys. I wonder if Trevor Larnach's been maybe the missing ingredient for the top of the lineup.
He could be, and obviously not a prototypical leadoff guy, but I mean, you just want someone that could put good at bats together in any of those top spots. I mean, you just put the guys that can hit the ball and put together good at bats, and then just try to get them as many at bats as possible. But yeah, I agree. He's this will benefit him as well, I believe, and I think that he kind of needs this opportunity. They need to give him some leeway and kind of see what he can do. He's kind of at that point of his career.
We found this stat from Declan Goff Stats and Information here.
Yes.
So
that's where I go for my information.
LLC,
it is.
Yeah.
Declan Goff Stats and Information.
You pay a
Powered
lot
by
for
Modelo,
that service.
Yeah.
What is the monthly membership for Declan Goff Stats and Information? Not just sports, by the way. It's a wide-ranging statistical department. So the Twins are 15-5 in starts made by Paddack and Simeon Woods Richardson.
Whoa.
They're 18-17 in starts made by Pablo, Joe, and Bailey. So are you turning a side eye at the 500 record by the three best pitchers, or are you looking at the 15-5 by Paddack and Simeon Woods Richardson as, wow, boy, that's interesting?
That's very interesting. I mean, the run support is a thing, or is it runs per game, or is it just? I mean, I know
we have to dig deeper. Does Declan's Stats and Information have the run support information?
That's
crazy.
Here.
You didn't flush this out, Declan?
Well, it is weird because it's I actually really like what Simeon Woods Richardson has brought to the team too. After basically just kind of being the penciled in spot starter after Louis Varland didn't work. And speaking of phantom injury stints, I don't know what they're eventually going to do with Paddack. He has thrown the most innings since 2021. They really want to be careful here. David Festa is tearing it up in AAA. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. The Twins released those diamond videos throughout the season on their YouTube channel, and at one point after a win, I think it was after a Chris Paddack win, he had this crazy IV situation with his arm wrapped up, and he was connected to a machine. And obviously he's doing post recovery. I'm not trying to say he was hurt then, but I do wonder if there's a phantom IL stint. But it is back to the main point weird that Paddack and SWR have been their two guys that have kind of given them the best chance to win. I know pitcher wins is a taboo still subject, but kind of interesting that the 4 and 5 starters are the guys that have gotten better results.
Real quick, so Simeon Woods Richardson, I think he's always, like, the last couple of years, he's been kind of this afterthought because he hasn't really torn it up in the minors or in the majors when he's been given a shot. But he's a second-round pick. He was a key piece it was him and Austin Martin, 2 key pieces in that Barrios trade, right? 9 starts in, he has the lowest ERA on the team, 3.05. His FIP is second lowest behind Joe Ryan at 3.57. Home runs per 9, by far the best among every starter. Like, he keeps the ball in the ballpark. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's fake to me.
The guys I was talking with last night who should remain nameless, these guys give me crap all the time. Like, oh yeah, go talk about this on John Boy. Go talk about this on your Twins show. I'm like, okay, like, relax, guys.
Here we go. This is it. This is for you, anonymous Twins people, right now.
Yeah. So they said, make sure, like, Woods Richardson, he's worked to, like, get his body aligned and on plane. So he's actually added velo, and his stuff is playing better because of it. So it's not like a fluke thing. Like, he's actually, like, made these adjustments. And to be honest with you, I haven't looked up if he's added velo. They said it, so I'm believing it.
So you might be spewing lies.
I could be. This could be fake news.
You're a mule.
Yeah, I'm assuming Declan's going right now to Baseball Savant to see if he's added velo. But this is what they told me.
Lost 4 miles an hour is what he's throwing a knuckleball. It's
like
crazy.
You got deep throat, man. Parking garage. He's like, okay, here's what you know.
It's his arm angle too that he changed in the offseason. That's been the big change for his stuff and for the velo too. So yeah, his arm angle, he mixes in a ton of sliders. That's been like a very good pitch for him. So it was a completely different arm angle that they switched up this offseason, and it's resulted in some big time numbers for him, man. Hey, by the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Found the run support too. Chris Paddack is getting 6 runs per game of run support in an average start.
That'll do it.
6 runs per game.
Well, I'm sitting in a Yankees office. I mean, everybody out here, we got, I don't know how many people are here. I know 40 people right here. It's probably,
are they all just staring at
30
you watching
Yankees fans. No, they're. I'm in a room right now. I wish you guys could see it. This is a great room, but our camera.
Friends of the show. They've come on. Jake's been on before, and
Jake's the best.
Those guys been on before.
Do you feel the Yankee dominance even while doing a Twins podcast in the Twins podcast studio? Do you feel it's a little bit lesser?
No, I don't ever feel that. I told you guys, I don't care about the Yankees. But so, our guy Jimmy, John Boy, he was all over Paddack tipping his pitches, and they communicate with a bunch of people in the Yankees organization, and they were like, they were talking about it. It's a thing, and I believe the last couple starts after, God, who did they face when it happened? I forget who it was.
Yankees.
It was the Yankees at home.
Yeah, you got bopped by the Yankees, and then since Cleveland, he's gone from here.
He's gone away from that. Exactly.
Here, his gloves at his chest. Yeah.
And I was texting a guy when Jimmy was texting me, and I immediately texted somebody in the Twins organization saying, "Tell Paddack to stop tipping his pitches. This is what he's doing." So yeah, he's completely changed too, and like those little things like that, man, that could change a lot. But we're not seeing this anymore.
This is the
podcasters
problem,
are the ones who are sniffing out these tells.
This is the problem when a team fesses up, right? It gets out there, and then you basically tell the pitcher instead of it being hush hush, so that the next time Paddack comes around, the Yankees know exactly what's coming. You see,
this happened with themselves. Were you on the team? This happened with Chris Sale when he was with the White Sox.
No, it didn't happen. Everyone says we had his stuff. We didn't. Or I think I've said this on the show before. I've talked about it before.
I don't think we have we?
Dozier felt like he had a tell on Sale. He said he could tell in his facial expression what he was going to throw. And I was like, dude, I'm good at this. And I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, we just
eyebrow came up.
He's mouthing fastball before he throws it.
That's what Dozier said, and he did. I'm like, whatever. Power to you, Brian, because if you see it and you believe it, then it's real. Whatever.
Wait, so you guys hung like a 9 ERA in a season on Chris Sale without picking anything up?
He would have had like a 1 ERA if he would have just pitched like he did against everybody else. Like, we were the outlier in that year, and I remember Tyler Flowers, the catcher at the time. What do you guys got on him? What do you guys got on him? I was like, man, he's just not that good, bro. And just talking crap. But we didn't have anything. At least, I mean, like I said, Dozier thought he did, but like nobody else saw it.
You know what though? The confidence you must feel if you think you know exactly what's coming, and he
also
throws.
Sale, the lack of confidence, being like, I don't know what I'm doing and how to change it. Like he's just
So I'm just
going
going to
up.
throw underhanded. And hope for
Smirk
the
meant
best.
curveball. Smile meant fastball. If
Yeah.
he frowned, change up.
Yeah.
Something. It was something
Screwball.
like that. He
You
said,
always
I could just
knew
tell.
that. Hey, question on, I believe he's actually going to start for the Yankees tonight. Luis Gil, all right?
Yes.
Now, this is a while ago, so we haven't talked about it much.
Okay.
But it's interesting that
Former twin, Luis Gil, you're talking about?
Yes, exactly right. Who was
Is
involved
that
in the
we're
Jake
going
Cave,
down that path here?
in the Jake Cave trade. But here's my question: is this one that got away, or is this a guy who is having a lot of success right now? But you see things that scream regression is coming. Like, what do you see here?
I mean, he has an injury history. That's it. Everything else is like, wow. Like, and there's a lot of data on his fastball, and like there's been comparisons to Garrett Cole and kind of the numbers and the start that he's had to the season. I mean, look, is he going to have a one the rest of the year? Probably not. So if you want to say regression in that regard, sure. Like, but he's a very, very capable starting pitcher can be dominant at times. And I mean, like, you can't fault the Twins. He was like 18 in the Dominican Summer League when they traded him, I believe. So
yeah.
Like, you can't always get them right, but it's definitely, you look back and you're like, oh, Twins could probably use a Luis Gil right now.
Judd loved the trade because Judd's a huge Jake Cave fan.
Coach Trev, can I just run by you, Jake? Jake Cave, the last time I saw him, he was diving in center field for a ball he had no chance at, and it was rolling to the damn wall, which he did against the Yankees in 19.
In the playoffs, right?
No, in that series against the Yankees in July, which was a great series in 19. He dove for a ball and it rolled to the wall, and it just drove me crazy.
Yeah, it's a tough one in the Twins trade history for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt. The Yankees are reaping the benefit of that. And I saw this guy. We do all these, team profile and projections is what we call them. We kind of go over the roster, and some of the guys, they're obviously very familiar with the Yankees farm system. And I saw this guy pitch in spring training. I was like, who is this monster on the hill? Like, oh, this is this guy. Like, he's not even going to be in the rotation. He's going to be in AAA. I was like, what? And then Garrett Cole gets hurt, and all of a sudden he's in the rotation. He's just taking full advantage of the opportunity. So he's a stud.
We were going through, just speaking of trade pieces, on yesterday's show, and Dex, you brought up David Festa is another one who's, for the Saints, he's made 11 starts this year. He's striking out 14 batters per 9 innings. And if you look at some of the position players, like Twins' top 10 prospects right now, almost everybody on this list, at least 7 of them, are just tearing it up at whatever level. Or it's Brooks Lee coming back from an injury, Walker Jenkins. I think those guys are untouchable, but it's going to be really interesting. I think it was you, Trev, that brought up Vlad Jr. Look at some of these teams. But the Walker Jenkins, Brooks Lee, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Gabriel Gonzalez, David Festa, Luke Keeshall, second-round pick from a couple years ago. They've got a stash of trade pieces here, or poker chips, if you will. If they wanted to make a move and if they had room to bring on $5-10 million in prorated salary, I think the next 2 months are going to be interesting to watch from that perspective.
Well, what we've seen around the league, and I don't think this organization wants to spend money. I mean, they've kind of been outward about that, but that doesn't mean you can't go and sign some of these guys. What we've seen around the league is, especially like what the Mets have done the last couple of years, is they'll pay the salaries of these guys if you give them a better prospect. So if you're willing to give up some of these guys, Pete Alonso can be had. We're going to have to give a better prospect. Now, then it's up to the front office and organization to decide, well, do we want to part? Is this the time for us to push it in? I honestly can't tell where the Twins organization lies in like a window. Like, is this the window? Do we think we'll be better in 2 years, 3 years, and then we push everything in? Like, I don't really have a firm grasp on where they think, we are in this window.
I think it's kind of now, because Carlos Correa, and if you listen to the Mets or the Giants doctors, they'd tell you that his ankle's a ticking time bomb. And if he's healthy now, don't take it for granted. Pablo, you never know when high-end pitchers are going to fall off a cliff or, have an arm problem. And Royce Lewis, if you get a healthy stretch from him now for the last 4 or 5 months, I don't know. They've got some bones here. If Buxton comes around at some point offensively too,
I think the team is good, but I mean, look, if you look at the standings, they're in third place in the AL Central. I know it's the fifth best record in
Cleveland doesn't lose.
AL. So like they have to decide. I mean, I would love for them to go out and get Pete or Vlad or anybody.
Tell your sources this, Trev.
Yeah.
I tell everyone.
While you're enjoying old fashioned number 3, say, why don't you push a few damn chips in? You've already saved a ton.
We talked about it. We've said this on the show too. Reese Hoskins was like, he was the perfect fit for this team.
Yeah.
Would have given him this like awesome edge that he's given Milwaukee. And like, he was the perfect guy, but they weren't going to go spend that money apparently.
You're right.
Yeah. Hey, before we get to some dumb baseball questions to round out this episode, we have a fun little event happening on Thursday, June 20th at CHS Field. You can come hang out with the Score North Twin Show. And we're told that one or all of us is throwing out the first pitch at that Saints game.
I
Is
think
there
it's
one
one
baseball
of us.
or 3?
I think it's one of us.
It's one of us.
And
We got to make Judd do it then, right?
Yes, Judd.
I think
No, it's got to be Declan. He
I would
wants
like
to do it,
but I would also love the video reaction of Judd throwing a first pitch too. For
I think it
selfishly
should be
for
Declan.
socials.
Declan wants to do
Or
it.
I
He's
still
getting
bounce one.
married in July. I
Ju-
think that young man. I've had my thrills. I'm 54.
I just want to see what kind of surgery you would need after throwing out one pitch.
My arm
at a
does
Saints game.
hurt. Like, I don't know why, but it hurts.
I don't know if I'd go to the mound. I think I'd be in front.
Your arm hurts right now?
When I throw, it hurts.
Is it your left arm? You might have some problems.
No, I don't know, man. You get old, stuff happens. Stuff starts to go wrong. You guys wait. You guys are young still. You guys wait.
So basically, if you want to see Judd tear his rotator cuff throwing out the first pitch at the Saints game on Thursday, June 20th, and if you want to hang out with us, you can register to win a pair of tickets to the game and hang out with us for a pregame meal and some drinks. Go to the Score North app. It's free to download. You can register, and you can hang out with us at that Saints game on Thursday, June 20th. Also, our friends at Dennis Kirk are here for riding season. So for all of you who like to ride motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, you name it, they have all the top brands with the most stock available for all brands compared to all of their closest competitors. DennisKirk.com, same-day shipping, free shipping on orders over $89. And there's also a ride finder tool where you enter your make, your model, and your year, and you can find parts that'll fit whatever you're looking for. DennisKirk.com. Okay, dumb baseball question here. Hit us up in the YouTube comment section, the Score North YouTube channel. It's our third and newest YouTube channel here. This one comes from Chad BB Stan. Dumb baseball question for Coach Trev. How tough is it for guys to be a quad A player? Like the type of guys that mash in the minor leagues, they mash at AAA. They're 30 years old, 31, and it just never clicks in the big leagues. To be up and down and to not be good enough to be in the majors, but mashing at AAA. What is that like for players?
I mean, I've definitely been that guy at times. It's
well, you've also hit 100 plus home runs in the actual major leagues. Give yourself a little credit.
I've done both things. Thank you. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult because I think a lot of those guys that are in that position feel like they just need one real opportunity, you know. And if you haven't gotten that, if you've mashed at AAA, but maybe you don't have a position, you don't play defense that well, and you just kind of get sporadic at bats in the big leagues. That's probably the most frustrating part of something like that. You feel like if I just had the real opportunity to get some at bats, I could be a big league hitter. And then, you know, if you don't get that, I mean, you feel like you want to leave the organization, or B, like you just feel like you got slighted. So I think that's the most difficult part of it. For guys that actually have gotten the opportunity and just haven't done anything with it, I think that you can just honestly tell yourself, well, shoot, like I need to do something different, or maybe I'm not good enough. But I think at least if you got a real opportunity, you'd know for sure. I think when you're just getting sporadic at bats, you're pinch hitting, you're up for a week, or you get sent down, you're like on that schedule. It's probably more difficult to handle, I would think.
I suppose if you're like married and have kids and you get to be in your late 20s, early 30s, maybe you didn't get like a first round signing bonus when you were 18 or 20. I suppose that conversation comes into play too, because these minor leaguers aren't raking it in like you would if you're on even a league minimum contract, right?
That used to be like, that was why, like when we got the minor leagues kind of down to 3 leagues or whatever it is now, I was actually happy. I know like towns lost teams and people lost jobs because there weren't enough coaching. There's not a lot of coaching jobs anymore. But like the dirty side of pro baseball is you had a bunch of guys who, either signed out of high school or went 2 years, 3 years in college, play for 6-7 years in the minor leagues, going through all the leagues, and all of a sudden you don't make it and you get released. Now you're 26, 27 years old, have no work experience. You still haven't graduated college. You didn't really make any money in the minor league. So you're just so far behind in life. And that happened way more than the success stories. Like it was just that was kind of the norm. And people don't really talk about it, and it is, you chase your dream, but like a lot of guys got left with nothing. One of my like best friends was one of those guys. He found his footing. He's an agent at CAA now, but I remember when he got done playing, he was like, I got nothing. Like I gave everything to this game, and I left with absolutely nothing. So like, I don't know. It can be dark sometimes.
Yeah, no, you get to play baseball for like 10 years, but then like,
you're very far behind in life.
Yeah.
But you're Trev. 2 for 2 off position players, Trev. You got that for you, right?
That's right.
1,000 batting average, 2 home
Best
runs.
ever.
Best ever against position players, Trevor Plouffe.
Tell me somebody better.
We need like an obscure wing of the Hall of Fame.
That needs to be in Cooperstown right there.
Yeah.
2 for 2.
If you're
2 for 2.
perfect off position players, everyone who once led the league in one stat, like you led the league in GDIPs GIDPs 1 year.
That's right.
In a year in which you also had a bunch of ribs.
Correa did too.
No,
So
that's it. I tell people all the time that is
company.
very, like
Prestigious.
really
Dude, Albert
good hitters.
Pujols is like
lead in
the
that
all-time
stat.
leader in GIDPs.
Harmon Killeber's done it, I believe. Like, Torii Hunter. I don't know. There's a lot of guys that have done it. Miguel Cabrera's done it. For instance, I just tell people that means I hit the ball really hard.
Yeah. When you hit scorching one hoppers, you're not beating it out. I'm sorry. So
It's just my swing.
there he is from the John Boy Studios. Trevor Plouffe.
Heck yeah, Trev.
Doing some sleuthing over old fashions for all of you Twins fans.
Enjoy the series and get at least one win, okay?
Oh, we're gonna do it. I'm putting
Just get one win. Just somebody. Just get one win.
I like it.
Awesome, man. All right. Thank you, Trevor. Trevor Plouffe Tuesdays here on the Score North Twin Show.